So this video is about business conversations, and while it could go on for quite some time, I do want to just give you a brief overview and give you an idea of how conversations can go. I'm sure that you have them every day with business owners and also with your own home loan clients. And once you get the idea of how to identify product and service opportunities within a conversation, it becomes a really free-flowing conversation. It doesn't sound like you're checking off where each product fits. So if I can give you one tip, it's this. If you get an opportunity to go and visit a business owner in their premises, please do that. Don't bring them into your office for a loan application. And the reason is that people are really comfortable talking about their own business. If it's one thing that business people will do, and that is they will talk about their business. And walking around the premises or being in their office makes them feel more comfortable, and it gives you the opportunity to look for things to ask about. So I'll give you an example. Let's just say that, I've got a client that I went to see not so long ago. They make furniture, custom furniture, and as we're walking around the premises, I get to ask questions about how the business works, where do they get their stock from, their materials. In that case, you say, we import that. Okay, great. So where are you storing it? You don't seem to have a lot of room here. His answer was, no, we need to expand our premises. I've got it all out the back in shipping containers. We've had to rent space next door. I really need a new place. I'd like to own my own. So there's a general conversation about what's happening with your stock and your space that all of a sudden provides an opportunity for a commercial property loan. And it leads into the conversation a bit further. Okay, so have you thought about buying a place for a while? Yeah, we've been thinking about it for some time. And so how much do you think you need to spend? I'm not sure, maybe 1.5 million. Okay, and so how are you going to go for a deposit? Have you got property, or do you have cash to put towards that? How much will we need? Probably 20 to 30%, more likely 30%. Okay, so we might need $500,000. Yeah, we've got that in the house, but we've just paid off our home loan, etc. So walking around the premises or being in their office allows you to start inquiring about their business. And you can just start with something simple as, how is business going? And they'll tell you. They'll tell you all about how their payments are slow, or stock's hard to get, or customers are bargaining and arguing on price. And again, it gives you more opportunity to look for products and services. So the minute they say something like, the margins are down or something like that, you can say, customers paying later these days. A lot of my clients tell me that. Yeah, they are. They're taking forever. Okay, and how do you go with cash? We manage. It's pretty hard. All right, have you got an overdraft or something? No, we don't use an overdraft. I don't like those things, but we've had one in the past and we paid it out. I just operate on cash. Okay. Have you ever thought about debtor finance? That's an opportunity to slip those things in, and then carry on. And you'll see in the conversation flow that I provided as a tool, you don't have to ask all of those questions, but they're just points for you to think about when having conversations with your business clients. So you might walk around, you find that they're in manufacturing, you say something like, do you run the manufacturing floor? No, I've got a guy who's, Jim, he's been with me 15 years. Okay, so the next question is, what happens if Jim's not there? And you don't have to be as blunt as this, but what happens if Jim gets hit by a bus? What happens then? I'm not sure what I'd do. Okay, so you'd have insurance on him, wouldn't you? You'd make sure that there's key person insurance in place. No, we've never even thought about that. Okay, well, what about you? What about your insurance? What happens if something happens to you tomorrow? What happens to the business? I've got my life insurance, it's covered by my super. Okay, well, how much is it? It leads you into that conversation. You can have conversations with people about a range of business services and products without ever specifically necessarily mentioning that you definitely want the opportunity to do it, but it's just a marker for you. Think about why you're there to begin with. You might be there for a commercial property opportunity. You might be there just simply to help them finance a piece of equipment, but your main goal is to learn everything you can about their business. Firstly, so that you can tell a great story to a banker, and secondly, so you can identify ways to help the client that they might not have thought about. So, if they rent their premises and their stock's outside in shipping containers, is that insured? How do you go with insurance? Do you have any problem with insurance for stock in transit, or ever had any problems? Who's your insurance broker at the moment? Those kinds of conversations, which I'm coming across to you probably as sounds like a bit of a checklist, but you can weave them into the flow of the conversation. So I've given you some categories to think about, so for example, supply chain, where do they get their stock from? How do they pay for it? Do they import it? How long does it take? What, do they just simply have it drop shipped or delivered to clients, or are they like my furniture client? They have to make the product. It's under contract. They send it out. They invoice. They get paid 60 days later. So there's opportunities there. They've got key people or key persons that they need to cover with insurance. They've got a building they're about to buy, so there might be an opportunity for that commercial property purchase. And then what are they doing with their money? So how are profits going? Are you making money? Or you should have already seen the financial statements, but you might not have at this point. It might be the first meeting. You guys have been making good money, because lots of people aren't. So, and if they say they are, then what do you do with it? Have you been just paying down personal debt, or have you got a fair few loans against the business? Or no, we've paid down our home loan. Okay, good. So have you just got the one home, or you've got investment properties, or lead that into the conversation. And then what else are they doing? What are their future plans? What other advisors do they have? Does your accountant look after all of your self-managed super fund, or have you got one, or have you thought about one, or have you talked to anyone about that? No, yes, I have. Do you have a financial planner? No, the accountant looks after that. Oh, okay, so you don't go to someone separate. They do the financial planning for you. Oh, I'm not sure if he does financial planning, but he looks after the super fund. Okay, so there's an opportunity. Just mark that in your mind. There's an opportunity to talk to them about financial planning, and maybe there's a referral, or maybe in your business you already have financial planning services that you offer clients. There's an insurance opportunity. There might be debtor finance opportunity. There might be a trade finance opportunity. And I'll give you an example of one of our clients that came to us a few years ago, and when they initially came to us, they had cash. They actually didn't need any borrowing whatsoever. They had $300,000 worth of cash sitting in a bank, a second-tier bank, and they were just looking for a decent business banker. So our role there was to introduce them to a business banker that could have the authority to grow with them, because they had some plans, some big plans over the next few years, in the last few years, and they've achieved those. And since that initial business meeting and that introduction, they've been our client now for about 3 to 4 years, and since then we've done 2 commercial property purchases with them. We've done 2 or 3 vehicles, both for the business and personally. We've refinanced their home loan. We've looked at insurances. Fortunately, their accountant, who was the introducing party, did offer financial planning, so they've taken care of that, and they look after their self-managed super fund. We've done some bank guarantees for them. We've done a range of other services, which over time, eventually we look after 90% of their business, and certainly all of the lending. And as each year goes by, there's more opportunities to do that. So, initially you might think, well, what am I going to get out of this? Maybe it's just a car, but it gives you the opportunity to get inside the business. And if I can give you one other tip, it's working capital. If you are the financier for the working capital of the business, that is the stock import, the cash flow, etc., then really you're looking after what is the engine of the business. And it means that you have, I think, the opportunity, or at least the permission, to ask for all of the other business, because you effectively control, or at least the financier controls, the cash flow of the business, and that's what drives everything. So by understanding that business cash flow, where's how does the business work, how does it make its money, where does it make its money, and financing that, you then have the opportunity to talk to the business owner about every other piece of business they have on their balance sheet, profit and loss, or intention. So they may say, well, look, we're renting, we're going to buy in 12 months' time. It's exactly what this client did. They were renting at the moment, they wanted to buy that premises, and they bought the one next door. And then they bought another building in the self-managed super fund. And then they bought some vehicles, and in the meantime we refinanced their home loan. So there are plenty of opportunities to look for, but the first meeting needs to be at their premises if you can. You need to have in mind the type of discussion that you want to have with them. What type of business are they? Think about their industry. As I said in previous videos, if they are an electrical business with vans out on the road, then talk to them about those vans. Talk to them about when they replace them. What about the insurance on the vans? What about the insurance, public liability insurance? Can you arrange that? Do you have a referral partner that can do that with you to help the client. Now, sometimes you might not get paid for that. You might not get a fee out of an insurance referral, maybe not, but you certainly will secure the client, and they'll only come to you for all of their requirements. So just to recap, make sure you visit them in their premises. Make sure that you ask about the business and learn about the business before slotting in products, because what you'll find is that as the business owner tells you more and more about what they do and how they do it and where the cash goes and what they own and what they're intending to do, that's where you'll find many business and commercial opportunities. Well, it may not be now, but it will be over the next 6 months to 12 months. And in terms of target types of businesses for brokers, I mean, it depends on where you sit in your marketplace, but if you're starting out in business and commercial, I'd encourage you to look for business clients that have, say, at least, one business owner, but a good target market I find is where there's two independent business owners, so not mum and dad, but just two parties who own a business together, and maybe their turnovers, somewhere around 2 million to 10 million. And the reason for that is, and ideally, if you can find something in manufacturing, that'd be great. But why I look for those types of businesses is because you've got two separate parties who need home loans, car loans, investment property loans individually, and then you've got the business itself. And that business needs commercial property, it needs, again, vehicle and asset finance, insurance needs for the business itself. And so you've got actually, instead of having, say, 10 products to offer one person, you've got 10 to offer one partner, 10 to offer the other, and another 10 for the business. And so that type of client is a very profitable client, and you'll keep them long term. Because if you look after business owners, they'll stay with you. And they'll listen to your recommendations because you know the business, and they don't want to have to explain their story to someone else. I don't know how many times I've heard that they're unhappy with their bank, and why are they unhappy? Because their bank manager changed every 6 months and they had to tell their story again. So if you can maintain that relationship over the long term, then you'll get the opportunity to have every piece of the financing and other referral opportunities for your referral partners or other parts of your business. I hope that helps, and we'll see you in the next video in relation to how to charge fees.